Welcome back to Podcast Recovery, everyone. We're your hosts, David O.
And Eric B.
And today we're here with a long-standing friend who I actually adopted you as an aunt at one time.
Did.
My aunt Jackie, who I absolutely love, and I've wanted to get on you here forever, but you know.
I know we've talked about it before.
Yeah, but you know, when the time was right.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
It's not up to us, is it?
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Good.
I'm doing very well.
Good.
Yeah. I'm enjoying my life.
Yeah. Where are you from, Jackie?
West Side, Baltimore City.
Okay. But you moved all over the country, I know that.
Yeah. I started moving around when I was 19, 20 on the East Coast, and then I ended up living, I think most of the 90s in California.
Okay.
And then I came back to the East Coast, and I still bounce around. I don't think I'm meant to stay in one place.
Yeah. When were you first introduced to recovery?
I was first introduced to recovery in 2013, like in December of 2013. That's when I was homeless, and my daughter tried to help me. So she brought me off the streets, and I was living in her home, but we didn't know anything. We didn't have any information, any knowledge on how to get me clean. And then I kind of dabbled a little bit in December, and then in January, I did what I did again, and I reached out to my brother-in-law, who was actually doing something, and he was way worse than I was. And I asked him, "What are you doing, Craig?" And he said to call my friend Marie that I used to use with, and she'll help you. And this is how naive I was about any type of recovery. I said, "How's she going to help me?" And he says, "Just call her. She has like 5 years." I said, 5 years of what? What is she
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about?
What are you doing? And I called her, and she said, "Do you want to go to a meeting?" And that was my first introduction to any type of recovery-based, anything. So, January 2014.
All right.
But my clean date's not till February 9th.
Okay. So, 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
It's a trip.
I have to tell you that it was something waking up. I didn't even know how I would feel. I knew I was hitting 10 years, but when I woke up with 10 years, I felt it. I felt it all through my body. I felt it in my soul. I felt it. It was probably one of the most significant, besides the year that I achieved. All of them, every day is great, when you wake up and you're in recovery, but that 10-year, I didn't expect how I felt. And it was something. I was proud.
I know.
I was grateful.
I know.
I was so excited. It was something else. 10 years.
God.
Of course, it means I'm 10 years older.
Oh, I know. Let's not think about that part.
But the best 10 years of my life.
Fucking right.
The best 10 years of my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to turn it over to you. Share your story with us.
So as I said, I'm from West Side, Baltimore City. I come from a good family. I think what made it really hard for me in my active addiction, in the beginning, I didn't seem to feel that there was anything wrong.
Yeah.
My whole motivation and drive was to go out and drink with my friends.
I mean, at one point, it was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. Now, when I say that I come from a good family, I mean, I'm the last of 6. There's no one in my family like me. My brothers and sisters are not addicts. I came from a 2-parent home who, what they did was put their children above all. And when I say it took me years to realize what I was doing was wrong, I just thought that that's the way that they were living and that they were out of their minds. Because we should all party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my whole focus was around doing that. And even when I had my first child at 19, my thinking, when I'm in recovery, my thinking was so screwed up because I was partying before I had her. I did stop when I was pregnant with her, and I was with someone just like me who, I'm just going to say it, he's an idiot. I was an idiot, right? But my thinking was, my perception...
All 19-year-olds are idiots.
...was so off that here's what I believed. I believed that even though we were idiots and that we were living this kind of wild lifestyle, I believed in my heart of hearts that as soon as I delivered this baby, that my life was magically going to be okay. Like, that's what I believed.
Yeah.
I believed that when I gave birth, I don't know how somehow the white picket fence and the house was going to
become Beaver
that
Cleaver.
we were all of a sudden
Mrs.
going to
Cleaver.
be different people. And I believed that. So it wasn't that it was a complete... And then what happened was I had this baby and my life became complete hell. I had to take care of this child.
Yeah.
Right now. And I loved my daughter.
Yeah.
But I had to try to squeeze in taking care of her. He didn't change. I didn't change. The only thing that changed is I brought a new life into this world.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't have. You know what I mean? I wasn't equipped to handle this child. And then I found myself, she became the problem. So in recovery, what I realized is that I actually resented my own child.
Ooh.
Because I had to now take care of her.
Yeah.
I had to take her to school. I had to feed her. She stopped the real motivation of what I wanted to do. I just wanted to, on the weekends party. Even during the week, if I had the opportunity.
Yeah, you wanted to be a young 20-something.
I just wanted, that's right.
Yeah.
And luckily, well, I don't know, luckily her father dropped off. I worked. I was the addict that worked, took care of my child, and got high. I worked, took care of my child, and got high. It was very exhausting. It was very exhausting.
I can imagine.
I met her father who adopted her. And he was a good man, but he also got high. He introduced me to freebasing cocaine.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know if anybody even uses that term anymore. The difference between him and I was...
Johnny I does.
Yeah, Johnny I, yeah, that's... And I used to think he was older than me, and when I first came in, and now I realize that we're one and the same.
Yep,
right?
yep.
But he introduced me to that, and the problem with the difference between the two of us is that he could stop.
Yeah.
And I could not. So I'm very grateful for him because my whole life was based on, okay, I showed up, I went to work, I took care of my child. Now it's my God-given right that I should be able to get high.
Yeah.
Or I went to the bar. And the problem with me is once I went to the bar and said I was coming home, a lot of times that didn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
So thank God that he had my daughter. Do you know what I mean? That he, and then as we bounced around. So we were here in Baltimore. Things were getting bad. We got an opportunity to become cartage agents and move out of state. So my thinking...
What's a cartage agent?
A cartage agent is where we go onto a dock and we had a contract, say with like Airborne Express. We were our own people, but we delivered their freight, their mail.
Okay.
Their mail. They were our trucks, our drivers, our uniforms, our routes. And that gave us the ability to bid on. So we ended up in Allentown, Pennsylvania, because my thinking was this. Baltimore was my problem. I couldn't get it together because I lived in Baltimore. So what I did was move to Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I did good for a while. Just like in my life, I'll do good for a while. I did good for a while.
They have a pretty fun festival up there, though.
Yeah,
They
have a good Halloween parade,
Bethlehem
too.
and Allentown, they have a huge festival in the summer. Like a huge music festival.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember what it's called, but they take the old, like, stacks, like the old, like, giant... because I remember I filmed it, and like I think Weezer was playing, and they were playing between these two giant like smokestacks. Yeah, like where the old like factories used to be.
Yeah.
They turned that all into like event space.
That's pretty cool.
It's
That's
so
a great
dope.
setting
Yeah,
for that.
it's so
Interesting.
cool.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'd recommend going up
Shout
there.
out Allentown and Bethlehem.
That's right.
I'd recommend
That's right.
checking it out.
Yeah. So I did good for a little while up there, but I think one of my problems is that I am social, very social.
Yes.
You can put me anywhere, but mostly bars. I'll walk into any bar. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
And I started seeking out. I went into a bar. I really believe the drugs found me, but what I learned about myself is I was listening.
Oh, yeah.
And looking for.
Yep.
So my poor husband and my daughter, things got bad there, and I said, we gotta get Allentown. Allentown was my problem.
Oh, yeah.
Allentown did not do its job. It did not fix me.
No,
So then we had to pick somewhere else, and then we went to Alexandria. I got to Alexandria, which was in the late 80s, and crack cocaine hit the scene in Washington,
Wasn't that
D.C.
a big thing in DC?
It was
I
huge.
I feel like crack in the 80s in DC was a big thing.
Crack in the 80s in D.C. So I'll give you an example. In the 80s, if you look it up, Washington, D.C. had the highest crime rate in the whole country.
Oh, yeah.
If you look
It
at
was
the District
bad.
of Columbia.
It was bad.
Our drivers were stealing our vans, and I couldn't imagine why I would pick there, because even though I moved to Alexandria, my territory was Washington, D.C.
Yeah, of course.
And I did good for a little while there until I started seeking it out, and then I would even drive back to Baltimore, so I was close to my home base.
Yep.
And we did bad there, and then of course, when I realized Alexandria and D.C. couldn't fix my problem, went back to Allentown because I knew I could get it right this time.
Yeah.
went back to Allentown and started over there again. Did well for a little while. And I could just tell you, I think you already know that Allentown was not doing its job. And then, so we had the best idea. My husband came to me, and he believed this along with me.
Yeah.
He just wanted me fixed. He was a good man. He believed this. So then I had the best idea in the whole entire world. 3,000 miles from home. I don't know anybody out there. Let's move to California.
Yeah, California.
Like the Beverly Hillbillies, we packed up the family, we packed up the car, and we headed out west. And that's exactly what we did. And it was beautiful. I lived in Redondo Beach. I was 2 blocks off the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, nice.
I think you know I'm a water person. I'm a beach person. I moved out there, did great for a little while, started getting a little bit high.
Yep.
I got pregnant with my son. And don't you know, so now I'm in California, and there's this other baby that has a second chance to fix me.
Yeah.
So I know that when I do that, I do well during my pregnancies. I'm a good mom. I love my children. I couldn't understand why I did what I did. When I had my son, everything was great for a while. I was an amazing mother. I showed up, I went to work, and then all of a sudden, I don't know why, but it happens. And there I am. I'm in the bars. I'm scaling walls in Compton, California, which if you know anything about Compton, I'm a 5'10" blonde, and I do not belong.
Yeah, you do not belong in Compton at
California
all.
At 2 a.m. scaling my drug dealer's wall of his security complex.
In the early 90s? No.
Yes, absolutely. But that's the drive of the obsession. When I ran out in Long Beach, when I was getting high with my landlord, who it's not my fault because the guy in my building got high.
Fault. Yeah,
it was not my. Do you see how?
No, that's not your fault that the drug dealer lived in your building.
Well, the poor guy just got high, but how? Look, it's not my fault. I tried to do well, and these drugs and these people find me. Right? That's because I'm a victim.
Yeah.
None of this is my fault.
You might be one of those people though, where the drug people just. Grab you because I'm one of those people where I'm like, wait, why are you talking to me right now? And it's like, oh wait,
it's like it was written on our fucking forehead.
Like, does it say I did drugs?
Absolutely. I could be in a gas station and the one person in there that's shady and wants to come up and ask me, did I want anything? I said, why would you ask me this?
Like,
I mean, the answer is yes, but what the fuck, dude?
But I still want to know why you would ask me.
I feel called out. Yeah.
But so I went there. I did good for a little while. They actually sent me to Hawaii for a little bit.
Oh, dope.
I went. I had an opportunity to go to Arizona. I had an opportunity to go to Nevada, and I came back, and it got really bad because the more that you get high, and the one person, it's like recovery. You start out with one phone number, and then you build to 1 million phone numbers. So is the drug deal.
Yeah, you have to have a network.
I started out with one. I had one hell of a network.
Of course we did.
Look, I had a network east to west. There wasn't anywhere that I couldn't go at the end.
Nobody had one drug dealer.
So exactly. So here's my thinking. My thinking is that this is my ex-husband's fault. This is my ex-husband's fault. It's California's problem.
Of course.
None of these things fix me. I need to pack up, leave my husband, and go back to Baltimore because it's his fault. And that's what I did.
With the kids or without the kids?
Okay. And then we went through a little battle with the kids being back and forth, which they, at that point, I was completely, for being raised in the household that I was completely out of my mind. My perception and my thinking, when I look back at it, I'm thinking, well, it blows my mind.
Yeah.
How I thought.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking earlier off.
Yeah.
About the disease of addiction and how I did not believe that you guys were calling it a disease. Like, how dare you? Like, cancer is a disease. It's a disease.
Yes.
Here's what really nailed it for me after I came into recovery. And when I look back at the patterns and the behaviors of my life, I'm in recovery. I ended up, when I came back to Baltimore, I ran into another me and I had my third child. And she didn't do the trick either. I thought for sure third time was the charm.
Yep.
That's what they say.
It's not. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a total lie. Yeah. It's a total lie. I did good for a while with her. I didn't know that I had this disease. I did good for a while with her. It became my ex-husband's. And I decided then that Ocean City was my answer. And by now, my oldest daughter was tired of me. And she went and lived with my mom. They lived in Baltimore. And
how old was she at that time?
She was, so I had her in 1985.
Okay.
And
so
she's your age, yeah. How many people do you think have made the decision to go to Ocean City to change their life?
Oh, there's a
tons.
Listen,
I mean, my neighbor did it too. So
there's a whole town of us that ended up not doing well down there. There was a whole network of
There's
us.
a whole network of the people who are like, man, Ocean City did not work out.
It's basically
did
the
it?
Maryland version of Florida.
It's-
Nobody
yeah.
actually is born in Ocean City. They just gravitate there eventually.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, and I thought, because see, Ocean City, one of 6, I come from a blue collar family. My father was a railroad man. My mom didn't work. That was our happy place once a year for a week.
Of course.
So I thought for sure. Of course, I worked in a restaurant. I was a bartender and a waitress.
Yep.
I got to tell you, for a couple of years, I did really good there. I had my last hostage. That was my last daughter. My son had moved to New Hampshire with his father. Best decision
He was in
ever.
New Hampshire now.
Yeah, he's in New Hampshire.
Not California anymore.
No, well, my ex-husband didn't do well after I left.
Yeah.
We've always maintained an amazing relationship, even though I blamed him.
That's good.
We maintained. So when he lost his job out there, I hooked him up with a cartage agent down here, moved him to Michigan, then he went to New Hampshire. They've been there since.
Nice.
They've been, and it's an amazing Portsmouth. It's an amazing
Oh,
place.
yeah.
The greatest thing that ever happened, and I'd like to say it was my decision, and that we always made the arrangement that when my son turned 10 that we would switch custody. I love my son, I love all my children, but I basically was relieved when when he left, because then I only had one little focus left.
Yeah.
It's got to be hard to have 2. We don't have that experience yet.
No, not yet.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great experience if you're on this side of the world, and I'm thinking you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm thinking you are. So, as you well know, so I had my daughter down there doing good. The ladies at the library know us as the biker chicks because I didn't have a car. We rode our bikes there. I had the kids on the boardwalk. I'm doing this mom thing. I'm reading to her. She's got great grades. She's this. And then I'm start gravitating towards the other side because I just couldn't hold it together.
Oh, yeah.
So Ocean City's not the answer. I found raw dope in Berlin, and I found crack in a field in Bishop.
Well, I know there's a lot of crack out in Salisbury, and that's
Yeah. I didn't even have to go that far. Right in Salisbury. I mean, I read in Berlin. I'm sorry, Bishopville.
Yeah.
It was right outside of the 90 bridge. I found some dude. I'd go to this cornfield and I hooked up.
So instead of going to the corner, you go to the cornfield,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Just trade the corner for the cornfield.
And then I think you guys could relate. Even though I wasn't doing that, once the door opened and I knew where it was available,
oh yeah, it's all over there.
the obsession side of me took over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could no longer control my obsession.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it became that I had so many opportunities and I had so many, and none of it mattered to me. And at Ocean City Point, I knew that's when it started to hit me that I knew that I was doing something wrong, that I wasn't living right, but I just didn't know how to undo that anymore.
Was that the first time you had that realization?
That was the first time that I had it. You know, I knew at a certain point, because as long as I had those periods where I was doing good, I didn't hit a bottom. So I reinvented myself several times. Without a husband, I was doing this on my own in Ocean City. I was paying rent. I was maintaining a good life for my daughter. My son that lived in New Hampshire came to visit me in the summer, and we did. If you would ask them, when I was on, I was on. I'm a great mother. You know what I mean? I love children. You know, you can relive through them. You can have fun with them. You know, I can't go out and run from the waves by myself. I look like a moron out there.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I get to play with dinosaurs and trains again with my 2-year-old.
You see what I'm saying?
I love trains.
I love that. So
Half the toys I buy are for me.
I know.
yeah. Wait a minute. It's like, would I want to have fun with this?
Yes.
Hell
Okay,
yeah.
then you can have it. Yes.
Yeah, we'll call it yours.
So it got bad down there. I lost the last job. I came back to Baltimore, and it probably took me a few more years after that. My problems always had jobs. I worked at the end. My oldest daughter now had my first grandson, and she was and it got bad. It got to the point where I had my drug dealers show up at my parking lot. I did things, as they say, that you would never ever think of doing. I've never been fired. This was the first job, so I got fired because I was nodding out at my desk. I got fired, and that very night when I was at my mother's, police officers showed up because my daughter was spending the night with my oldest daughter, and she filed a restraining order on me, saying that I beat my daughter in the head.
Oof.
I did various things to her that I did not do, but her goal was to get her out of this environment that I was living in. I was living in my mother's basement. She's in the living room. I'm smoking crack in the kitchen. She's 12 now. She's getting ready to go into middle school. She knows what's going on. She knows what's up.
They were trying to get her out.
They were just trying to get her out. I showed up for the first day in court. It was postponed, and I never returned. And then right that same week, my brothers and sisters came by and said, you have to get out of my mother's house. So that's where I ended up homeless. I ended up down on Catherine Street and in a house that, no electricity.
And a bando.
Yeah, pretty much. It was, and I was there for about 8 months. And my oldest daughter is pretty treacherous. She's scary. She scares me. And I didn't contact any of my family.
I can only imagine your first daughter is a badass.
She's a badass. She's had to be.
Yeah, well, yeah.
She's so I'm bebopping around there. I had $20 in my pocket, and I'm going to go get 1 and 1 because now I have 2 habits because I had to have the heroin to bring me down off the cocaine.
Yeah, of course.
Now I have 2 habits, and I'm bebopping up the street. I'm 5'10". I probably weigh 135, 40 pounds. And I hear somebody, I can see this car out of the corner of my eye, and I can hear somebody say, Mom. Well, I don't turn around. I haven't been a mom. Why would somebody call me Mom? And I keep walking because I'm on focus. You know how we are. I know what I'm going.
Oh, you know where you're going.
And then I hear the car, Mom, and I turn around and look, and it was my daughter, Jessica. And I turned around, and it shocked me. And she's down in a hood that I didn't raise my children in. And she said, Mom, get in the car. And I looked at her and I said, I'm not getting in the car with you. She's now my enemy. You understand? Yeah, she's here to hurt me.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm not getting in the car. She said, Mom, please, I'll pull over. Just get in the car. And she did. And I got in the car and I sat there. And this is verbatim because it's not always verbatim that I know what went on. I looked at her and I said, why are you here? What is it that you want from me? I have done everything that you've asked me to do. I don't contact you. I don't try to see my grandson. I don't try to contact grandma. I don't contact Nick. I don't contact Sonny. Why are you here and what is it that you want from me? And when she turned her head, she had huge tears coming down her face. And she looked at me and she said, I'm here because I want my mother back. She said, please let me help you. Please let me help you. She said, my life does not work without you. And let me get you help. And just like shocked by this whole thing. And I said to her, I said, but I'm really good here. I'm good. Like in my brain, in my perception, in my thinking, and the disease had full power over me. And I said that I'm really good here. And she's looking around like she said, you can't be good here. Please do not make me leave you here. This is how powerful that $20 was in my pocket.
Oh, that $20 is powerful.
I felt my daughter, but it wasn't powerful enough for me to say, okay, I'll go with you. I said, listen, I'll call you in a couple days and see what you think.
You still got the $20. So
and because that's what that mission. Nothing was stopping that mission.
No.
And I got out of her car and I left my oldest child there crying, leaving me in the hood. And not because I was focused on that. But what she did do that day is spark some hope that I wasn't the most, you see, by this point in my life, after being raised by good parents and having that, I knew, and I just knew that there was something very wrong with me and I couldn't figure it out.
Yep.
I did try to get help. I tried to go to church. I sat in church every day one time thinking that it would, just, I went to a psychiatrist one time and told him my story, and he just looked at me with his mouth hanging open and didn't say anything. And I thought, well, I'm really bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that can always be distressing.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
if Father McNulty can't help me, who the fuck is?
I must be really bad. And then you got to remember, I was raised Catholic.
Oh,
and
yeah.
according to the Catholics, there's mortal and venial sins, and I was in hell at 7 and could never come out.
Oh yeah,
So
you were born with original
I thought
sin.
you had like a few Hail Marys and like Hellfire. Like,
They do not forgive you. They lie. They lie. They do not forgive you.
You guys have the worst guilt, though. I think because my wife is Catholic, and she was Catholic. She grew up Catholic. She's not Catholic anymore. But it's just like, man, the guilt they ingrain in you is just like, it's awful. I can't imagine.
It's horrible because I'm going to say, since you said that, I called my sponsor the other day and I'm talking 10 years of really working on myself, 10 years of fully surrendering that I needed to change, 10 years of this. I called my sponsor the other day and I said to her, I really feel like, so I know that every day is not going to be good, but when the bad days hit, I do believe in my heart I'm a good person, and I'm thinking to myself, I must be doing something wrong. I must be punished. Why do I still feel like that? And her answer was, because you're Catholic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the feeling. I work on that presently.
Yeah.
It's something that needs to be worked on because
Yeah.
I don't believe, even when I was Catholic and being raised, I listened because they sent me to Catholic school. And what I was hearing and what I was witnessing were two different things.
Yeah.
And if
You're
you know
hearing love and then seeing punishment.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And I'm hearing we forgive, but you're not.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my mom, who I love her, and she did the best that she could. Was a very narrow-minded Irish Catholic woman.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I would listen to her look across the street and talk about the neighbors like she knew what was going on over there. And I said, and even at a young age, I'm thinking, you don't know them. Like at a young age, I questioned. That's why we had conflict. My dad was Romanian. Me and him got along great. He didn't judge. He didn't do this. He just, I don't know how. He was raised in a treacherous household, but he came out a loving man. At least he was to his last child. Right? I had love. I had unconditional love. So when I was
So wait,
on
was
this,
your dad actually from Romania?
his parents are.
Oh, okay.
He was born here. Both of my grandparents came from Romania.
Okay.
My mom's mom came from Ireland, and her father came from Germany.
Okay.
Wow.
So I did that
Yeah.
DNA thing. I'm 47% Romanian, like from the Balkans.
Nice.
You know,
Ah,
yeah.
From the Balkans.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was like, if it was your dad, timeline wise, he saw some shit.
Yeah.
But no,
yeah.
since it's grandparents, they got out before the shit happened.
They, yeah,
okay.
exactly. Yeah. So when I was out there on the street, I surrendered to the fact that there was something wrong with me, and this was my life. So if you know
I've
me,
talked about like the
Yeah,
surrender before.
There's
Yeah.
two surrenders. There's the surrender in addiction, and then there's a
there's
surrender,
a surrender
in
and
recovery.
recovery.
Yep. Yeah.
I never believed or dreamed. It wasn't a dream of mine that there was recovery. I don't even, those words, when I was down there, we didn't talk about words, spiritual principles,
No, fuck no.
patience, all these words. So I surrendered that was my life, and I kind of accepted it. And I was okay with it. And if you know me, you know I can survive on West Side Street. Not today,
Yeah.
but back then.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
It's an audio medium, but everybody, this is bad. This is a bad woman right here.
I don't alter. I don't bend, and I definitely. You're not. If it's me or
Yeah.
you, it's always going to be me. This is how it's going to be, and I don't have an issue with that. Right? You ready to go to the mat? Because I am.
Oh,
right?
yeah. That's your whole generation of women.
Yeah.
Like that whole like in between like boomer, like it's like after boomers
X.
but in Gen X, like Gen X women.
We go to the mat. We don't care.
Badass.
So, but she sparked that hope that maybe I could get my kids to not hate me.
Yeah.
Maybe love me one day. And a few days later, I called her, and true to her word, she came and got me, and she put me in her home. And it was really weird because I was in a house, and she was fixing dinner, and the kids were seated, and there was electricity, and there was food. And I can't tell you, for not being raised on the streets, how odd that felt to me to be in that environment.
It's like being on an alien planet.
It is. It's like taking a wild animal out and putting them in a domestic situation.
Yep.
And but that's where my journey began. And I didn't get clean for myself. I got clean for my kids because I knew that wasn't how it was supposed to be. And this is how I know that it's an actual disease, because I've sat in meetings. I do Narcotics Anonymous. I sat in meetings for 10 years, and I've listened to people who came from all the benefits in the world. I've listened to people who came from no benefits in the world, a treacherous background. I came from a loving household, or you came from a rich household with no love. No matter what the story was, we all ended in the same place. I ended up in the bando with people that were, I realized that was my first opening, that there's something to this disease word. And then I remember sitting in a meeting, and there's certain moments that you remember, just like what I said. I remember what my daughter said. I was sitting in a meeting, and this old dude was sharing, and I don't know why in early recovery you can't hear everything. I was just like everything. Yeah. And he said, I think I had 4 months clean, and he said, I knew that I had the disease of addiction when I realized that I did not have the ability to walk into a bar and drink just one beer. And when he said those words, I flashed back to my whole career, because I'm a bar fly, I'm a pool shooter, I'm a dart shooter.
Yeah.
I told my kids, I told my husbands, I told anybody, I'm stopping for one. And it flashed back to me that I never, ever in a 30-year career ever walked out just having one. And that's when I realized that when that substance goes in my body, that all rational thought comes out of play. And that's why I'm an addict. I do not have the ability in which to stop myself. And at that time, of course, it was the drugs that took over. In recovery, I had other smaller addictions to deal with.
Of course.
But if that was the most major thing that had to be taken out of my life, because I do believe that addiction is a disease in many forms. Forms. For me, my form was drugs and alcohol. I didn't have to grapple too much. I was used to being on my own. When I came in, men wasn't my, I had a couple bad relationships. Yeah. But it wasn't an obsession with that. My obsession, I'll give you an idea. Remember Liz? Yeah. She taught me a lot. What I did when I came in here is I listened. I knew that at the age of 47, when I was standing in a rehab, because I went to a rehab, when I decided after 3 weeks of meetings that I might be able to get
Which rehab did you go to?
I went to Park Heights, Gardenzia.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. It wasn't Passages from Malibu.
No, it's not. I've shared there, and I've definitely had sponsees that have gone through Gardenzia.
So. If you make it through there, you want to be clean.
You want to be clean. No. You're like, you don't want to go back.
If you do. So when I called that girl Marie, I was still on Suboxone. My daughter was helping me not to be sick, and then after 3 weeks, I went out a couple times. I'd call her and say, I smoke crack. She said, it's okay. You want to go to a meeting? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand these people.
That's what I would do.
I got a white key tag, and then I went back out on Friday. Like Friday mattered. I didn't have a job, right? Yeah. So I do a week's worth of meetings. See how even that little pattern, I do good. Yeah. And then I'll go. So the second week, I went out and smoked crack again. I called her the next day and said, I went out and smoked crack again last night. She said, it's okay. Do you want to go to a meeting? I'm like, okay. Yep. I don't know what's wrong with this woman, right? Like, what is wrong with these people? Because I've always been told how bad I am to keep coming back. Then no matter what, I didn't understand it. That it was even that it was happening to me. I didn't understand.
Because some people won't do that. Yeah. So I'm grateful that Marie did that for you, because that's like a lot of people. Like, some people be like, well, fuck you, man. Yeah. Like, you smoke crack. I'm not fucking with you, but she
I think I was looking for that. I think in the depths of my soul. So the third weekend,
you were looking for the way out.
I did it again. I went out and I got high, and I was out for 3 days. And here's what happened to me. I was sitting in a room with these two dudes. One of them was 6'9". He was a thick 6'9" guy.
Jesus Christ.
He was. We were sitting there and we were getting high. And we were smoking off of a plate. Stuff
yeah.
And I'm looking around and they're getting all geeked up, jammed up. They can't move. They can't talk. And I'm not like that. And I'm getting mad because something's going on here. And it's not, I'm not like that. And I want to know why you are. So the West Side Jackie came out. And when you're really high, you don't want somebody attacking you. And they're high as can be. And I'm looking at them, and I'm like, what the F is going on around? I don't know what you guys are doing, but I'm not looking like you. And I'm freaking out. And they're all like this now. They're freaking out. They know that I don't care who you are. I'm going to them. Yeah. And then finally, they're pointing to this plate. And I said, what the hell are you trying to say to me right now? And Jackie, it's from the same plate. And I realized in that moment in time, the 3 weeks that I was in meetings, I heard that the drugs will not work anymore. And that was my aha moment. And I looked at that man, and he wasn't a bad man. He was me. Yeah. I looked at him, and I knew in my heart of hearts that I would never see him again in my entire life. Oh, yeah. And I walked out of that room. I walked to my mother's, and I called Marie, and I said, I guess you know what I've been doing again. She said, I actually looked for you this time. And I said, she said, do you want me to come pick you up and go to a meeting? And I said, yeah, and I need help. I want to do this. And and she made a phone call, and in 3 days, I was in a rehab. One of my other greatest aha moments is where I knew that I had to give up the steering wheel to my life. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Was when I was standing in line at rehab. And we had to line up in a single file.
For
and
meds?
They called no, this was to go eat lunch. Oh. This was to go eat lunch.
You had a much different experience than me.
I'm being detoxed off of, I didn't want any, if they told me I couldn't have something, I said, okay. I was being detoxed off of Suboxone. And my thinking changed, which is why I believe that my detox wasn't that bad, right? But I'm standing in line, and there's all these people, and you have to raise your hand to count a number so that you can go eat your lunch. Do you see? I'm 47 years old. Yep. So then we single file, and the steps went like that to go down the cafeteria. And I'm watching the people go, and this is what struck me, and I knew that I would surrender. I wouldn't ask questions. I would follow directions. What struck me in that moment was my grandson is 5 years old, and he's probably doing that same thing right now, going to lunch. And at the age of 47, when I have to be told that I have to raise my hand and I have to single file to go get my lunch, that I have severely went wrong.
Yeah.
And that it was time to let somebody else show me a new way.
Yeah.
And that's when in rehab I completed, I came out and I did exactly what I was told to do. I'm not going to say that I did exactly, but I did enough so exactly that I'm sitting here with 10 years clean today. And it was an inside job. This is where I was going to Liz. This is what you should be careful with. I don't focus on, for 1 minute, you know, I don't keep up with the Kardashians. You can tell I'm a pretty like...
Ron John surf shop that's a high quality
that's
wear
the Ocean
right there.
City right there.
This is the
beach.
beach. This is the beach. I love Ron John.
Yeah.
But usually, you know, I got Harley Davidson.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So I'm obsession on these shoes. When we were going to meetings with her, remember when it was really like...
Oh, yeah.
But, you know,
Edmondson
and everybody,
Rolling was popping.
Edmondson and Rolling's popping. We're going here. So I don't have, you know, I was homeless and I donated clothes and this and that. And I was grateful for cigarettes at the time.
Yeah.
And I wasn't asking anybody for any more than that. But I wanted these white Reeboks. I wanted these at my life. And I kept talking about, here's obsession. I kept talking about them. And Liz says, well, when you'll be able to afford them when, you know, you can afford them. I needed those white Reeboks. I needed these white Reeboks. So finally, she knew how to play me. She knew how to get to me.
Of course.
So she says to me one day...
We're all dope fiending people.
Yeah. So as I'm talking about these Reeboks again. If I just had these Reeboks, my life would be so much better.
There we go.
Right?
Just for
so she says to me, this is how cunning she was in the recovery way of cunning. She says, Jackie, what did we do last night? And I said, well, we went to Edmondson and Rolling. She said, oh, yeah. She said, did we have a good time? I said, yeah, remember we stood out on the parking lot?
Right.
We were talking to everybody. It was so great. And then she says, oh, my God, what did we do Friday night? I said, Liz, we went to the Catonsville group. And then we went to GL Shacks right after that. I said, remember? She said, did we have a good time? I said, oh, my God, yeah, we had the best time. And I'm looking at her like there's something very wrong with my friend. She says, and we did it all without them white Reeboks. And that's when I knew that I needed to stop focusing on.
But I know part of your brain was like, you bitch.
I did. I was like, you damn right it was. Like that little bitch. She just, look, she had the fishing rod and she was reeling me in and I was holding on to that hook and she got me. Thank God it was and that's pretty much, I had to, for me, recovery is rewiring your brain.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's rewiring your thinking. It's giving me the ability to pause before I react. Because he'll tell you, I was a reactor. You know, like even in recovery, I'm really like I'm watching what you're saying to me. You know, like I wasn't, but I didn't act out like completely like a fool. But what was going on in here, I obsessed over your behavior. I'd go home and obsess over why you're. It's such a freedom that if you actually trust what you're doing and you actually follow instructions. In time, you'll sit here with the ability for whatever you think doesn't have any effect on what I do in my life.
Yep.
Right? I wish I'll never sit here and say, I heard somebody say it last night at a meeting and I had to think about what they said. I heard them say that they were very grateful that they had the disease of addiction. I am never going to sit here and tell you that I'm grateful that I had the disease of addiction. Because of the people that I heard along the way. What I'm very grateful for is that I have the antidote to the disease of addiction and recovery. And that I was able to find that. You know, that you know, whether...
The antidote to addiction. That's the title.
Maybe.
Okay.
You know, that's
I have another one.
You have, uh-oh.
Was it the power of $20?
It was from the corner to the cornfield.
That could be a good title.
I tell you, I like this guy, I swear. The corner to the cornfield. That's pretty good, though.
That's pretty good.
But I just, my relationship with my children had to be built. They didn't trust me.
Yeah.
And what I learned is that I had to work on myself and not expect. I had to let them have their process and not expect.
Oh, yeah.
Because they heard a million times that mommy's going to be different.
Yeah.
Mommy's going to be different. And mommy was never different. They looked at me and I could never understand the look in their eyes. But the look is that they knew I was telling a lie. I didn't know. And they're looking at me like, you don't, like, they knew. They're just looking at me because they've heard it so much before. How the trust and the relationship grew is not by what I said, but it's by how I behaved. How I acted. I show up, just like this morning.
Yep.
I tried the best,
Step 9, man.
I show that, look, my whole life with my children and with the general society is that I get up every day and I try to be the best human that I can be. And I carry this new way into every area of my life, into all aspects of my life. I believe in being a good human, just a good human, and navigate my way through a world that's sometimes not a nice place to be.
Oh, yeah.
But I navigate it because peace and serenity and love are the greatest feelings that I've ever felt in my life. And I have such gratitude for it that I'm not sit here and tell you, because there is a button that you don't want to push with me. And I don't know what that is sometimes. Yeah. You can ask my sponsees. I'll listen to sometimes and then I'm like this. I don't know another way. I don't cut cards. I have learned there's a way to speak to get an effective, because the goal is to help someone to recognize I am so good at that now. Yeah. But not perfect. Because then you come in and be like, check this out. I can't listen to this anymore. Oh, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Talking to Herb 10 years ago is totally different than talking to him now.
Yeah. So, I love what I do. I love the life that I lead. It's not a cookie cutter life. I live in 2 different places. I'm going to blame the gypsy soul inside on me that I've always been able to go.
The Romanians.
I love, listen, you could put me in the mountains, the desert. Right now it's the ocean. I gravitate towards
gypsy
what gives
Jackie.
me, that's right, what gives me the most peace in my world. And I get up every day and I ask my God, not the one that's Catholic, the other one. I ask him every day just to please help me do your will. Help me be a good human. Help me get closer to you. Help me practice more faith. And help me to help someone else. And that's the best. And then the Catholic side of me was getting up saying, I'm really sorry I took this amazing life that you gave me. And every day I would say that because I look at what I was given and I look at that I didn't care about it. And I'm Catholic and I'm thinking, my sponsor had to tell me, God's probably tired of hearing you saying that because he's already forgiven you a long time ago. Yeah. Stop and learn how to forgive yourself. So I don't say that anymore. I still feel it. Your wife's going to have a little struggles.
Oh, yeah. I think she will.
So, but that's, I've been doing the same thing for 10 years. I have a home group. I have sponsees. I have a sponsor. I do step work. I go to meetings. I'm not going to tell you in summertime. I don't go as many meetings now, right? But I still keep a network of recovery around me. I pick up the phone. I say when I want to walk into that bar because the biggest trigger for me is I love drinking. I wish I could have done it and not have to be like, you know what I mean? Yeah. I help people, not just addicts. If there's of any way in society that I can be of service, I am of service. I continue to do the things. If I were to change what I'm doing, then that would tell me that I believe that I'm cured. And that's a scary place for me to be. Oh, yeah. I can't believe that I'm cured. I'm not saying my program is as regimented. I had to give up a service commitment. I was of service. I did an H&I up until this year. So I did an H&I for 10 years.
That's actually a lot.
Because I was told by one of the old timers that if you look around this room and everybody with 30 plus years still has a service commitment, it keeps you locked in. Something like that. This is service right here. And I'm not... There's many, many, many ways to serve. Oh, yeah. The greatest ways is to do the best that I can in society. I'm not here to drain society anymore. I work hard. I pay my bills. Very proud about that. I could have gave it shit about bills. I didn't care about anything. I love what I'm doing. Do I still sometimes think, well, should I be that grandma that has the house and has this? But no, my grandchildren love me for who I am. They love, because there are other grandmother. So what I've learned is you get different things from different people. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't have to fit your form for your child to get something different from me or for you to get something different from me. And then all of that brings something, character to whoever,
they're all puzzle pieces.
Exactly. And this is for right now, this is my puzzle piece, and I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it.
I love you, Jackie.
I love you so much.
All right, we definitely have some questions for you, Eric. What you got? We'll go with you first.
I think I'll ask what you just spoke about. Then you were talking kind of about a little bit about something I talk about with step 8 and step 9 a lot is and how you were talking about like when words lose their meaning, right? Because, and I say this to a lot of, like, I say this to people all the time. It's like an apology, me saying I'm sorry lost its meaning when I was in active addiction, probably like years before. It's like, what does that fucking mean, dude? You're sorry? Like, cool. So what is the importance for you, like, of taking those words and actually applying meaning to them? And like making sure that when you say something that you're going to follow through with it.
It's behavior. It's change behavior. Sorry is an action word. Sorry is just not a word that I say because, you know, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, sorry is a meaningless word.
Yeah, you're not sorry.
It's zero meaning whatsoever to it. I can, you know, apologize. I apologize in such a way. I'm sorry that affected you like that. I'm sorry that I hurt you. I'm sorry I didn't realize that came out like that. I won't. And I'm vigilant about repeating that behavior. I when I say it, I mean it, and I follow through with the action behind it. That's the only way an apology is an amends, is a changed behavior, and it's small, large, whatever it is. Yeah, you know, sorry's not a get out of jail free card, right? Oh, I said I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. You said that a million times. You know what I mean? Yep. It's the change behavior. It's an action word.
Yep. I think it's like when people have used the word "I'm sorry" so much and realize that it like loses value. There are the people who are like, "Man, it's an apology. It's just an apology. You got to fucking do some work behind it."
It's useless and meaningless. Yeah. It's useless and meaningless. It's just 4 letters that are put together. Yeah. Without action behind it. And that's what and if you're not going to do it, then maybe you should just step away from whoever it is that you're going to go lie to. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, my mom, she drilled into my head as a young kid. She was like, if you know what you're doing is wrong, I am the last fucking person you want to say sorry to. Absolutely. She was like, if you knew and then did it anyway, you weren't fucking sorry from the get-go, so you're not sorry now. Absolutely. She was like, you're gonna be sorry.
Yeah, you're sorry for your consequences. Yes, that's what you're sorry for. Yep. Now that might be some real sorrow there.
Yeah, that's sorrow. That's curse words. All right.
Step 8, just to say, was the most cleansing step. Everybody has their step. Yeah. I couldn't get through it without tears, but it was very cleansing. It was my start to write the names down and to really sit there and have a look on a piece of paper. Yeah, what I did. Oh yeah, it's like doing your bills. You can do them in your head, but when you put the numbers on a piece of paper, you realize what you're working with.
Yeah, then you say, "Oh shit,"
and you say, "Oh shit, I gotta do this. I gotta do this." It's like when you put the names down and you put. I couldn't get through it without tears. But I knew, because I trusted, that was my process to heal. Do you know what I mean? So I just wanted to add that. Yeah. That was my most profound step, was step 8.
Oh, that is one of our stock questions. Favorite step. Mine's 3. His is 10.
Right. I love them all. Oh yeah. I'm saying that would invoked the most emotion out of me. Because because I'm a good person. I'm compassionate. I'm kind. I'm caring. I'm like that protector person. I don't like a bully. I will not stand. So when I do things, and when I looked at that list and what I really did, it affected me. So that's me. It affected me in a way that the other previous 7 steps did not affect me. I'm talking like I was boo-hooing, but it felt good. I knew that I was going to go on. I knew that, but I had the opportunity that not a lot of people have to try to make this right. Yeah. I can't fix what I've done, like where my children are concerned. I'm never going to sit here and tell you that I don't have guilt. I'm not going to tell you that because I can't undo the things that I've done. But what I've done by the change is the pain that I caused is very distant for them. Do you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah. So they've forgiven me more than I've forgiven myself.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You didn't talk about this, but I know your story and I know your history. So this is a two-parter. You went through some difficult things in recovery. The first one was the broken leg.
Woo!
The broken leg.
Ooh. That was a motorcycle, yep.
Yep. And so how did you get through, that injury?
Yes.
And also,
I got through it clean.
And you got through it clean, absolutely. And the second one was Billy.
Billy Houck.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a relationship?
No.
No. Okay.
He was my best. He was, do you remember that meeting? I had to share it the day
Absolutely,
he died.
I remember that meeting.
It was,
awful.
I cried. I cried very hard. Because you were broken.
I was broken. Oh. I was 2 years clean. I think 2.
Mm-hmm. It was stepping clean.
It was in July.
It was stepping clean on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that.
Yeah. So let me address the first part A. Mm-hmm. I had a motorcycle accident. Can I tell you why I did that? Because I wasn't following instructions. I was doing something wrong. What? I got a Harley Davidson, an 883. When you get high all those years, you don't ride motorcycles, right? I don't anyway. Because
you fucking die.
Yeah. And I'm not spending money on a motorcycle when I can smoke crack, right?
So I thought you rode the motorcycle to smoke crack. Like
no,
that was what my uncle wanted to be, was like a crack smoking.
Yeah, no,
crack smoking motorcycle.
No. He was like, I was going to be that or an accountant. And he
One
chose
obsession at a time for me right now. It was like, so I got a motorcycle. I got it given to me, actually. And I got on it, and I realized that, oh my God, this came back. I haven't had the motorcycle safety course. I haven't ridden since my 20s. I'm 47, 48 for 9, 47, 48, something like that. It doesn't even matter. I shouldn't have been riding, so no safety class. The guy that gave it to me would have did anything in the world for me. So I said, let's take it for a ride. I rode around all day. I dropped it once and burned my hand, picked it back up. Let's go. Let's go. I dropped it a second time. Third time was the charm. There was the charm. I'm not going to say that was a charm. I crushed all the bones in this leg, and I have now a rod in my leg and a hook through my kneecap. I had to go to shock trauma.
Did you almost lose
I was 8 months clean.
Did you almost lose the leg?
No.
No.
I didn't know if I was going to lose the leg. I refused to accept that the bike even fell. I was laying in the rain and...
Because I know, it's Steve, I can't remember his
Steve
Schwartz.
Sorry.
Because his, I remember
his
he
whole
had
leg.
A tourniquet.
Yeah, peg leg Steve.
Yep.
Old peg leg Steve.
He was somebody I could not stand, and then I ended up loving him.
I love Steve.
Yeah.
He gave me the Murphy's Law book. He was just like, I've lived by this book.
Yeah. His delivery wasn't well for my set of mind at the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. Mm-hmm. So anyway, what I did, I went to shock trauma. I went to the surgeon. When the surgeon came to me, I had to have 2 surgeries. He said, you're going to need to take these. They gave me morphine, Percocets. I don't even really know this. I looked down and said, oh, because I just came off of opiates. Mm-hmm. I got over that.
Did you take them or did you not take them?
Oh, no, I had to take them.
You had to take them?
I had to take them.
I had my appendix out, and I had to take medication, or else I'm like, oh my God.
So here's what I want to say to anyone that's listening. Just because you come into recovery, there's not a cloak that goes around you that makes you immune from pain in your body.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to... So at first I said, oh, no, I cannot take them. He just looked at me, was very blunt with me, worked at University of Maryland Shock Trauma, probably dealt with a lot like me. He says, let me tell you something, hon. You're going to take these pills. Because if you don't, then there's nothing but the pain will cause trauma in that area.
It's going to hurt so bad.
And he said, I will not operate on you like that. These people right here, he knew John and Liz were there. Mm-hmm. They're going to tell you what to do. You're going to do that when the time comes. I'm going to wean you down.
Yep.
And I did exactly what Narcotics Anonymous told me to do. I did not hold my own medication. Mm-hmm. If I would have held my own medication, we would be having a different conversation.
There is a pamphlet.
And that's why I asked this, because this was a very important lesson.
Yeah. This is why I would have not made it. Mm-hmm. I gave my medication to my friend Liz to hold. Mm-hmm. She would dole out what I needed. At first, she was staying with me. And then when she left, she would give me certain doses because I ended up having physical therapy.
Yeah.
I used to cry every morning when I woke up because if you know I'm a physical person, I don't like to be put down. Mm-hmm. I cried because it was over. Every morning, John Payton used to call me. Mm-hmm. Remember when he was in jail?
Yep.
And I would cry and he would say, oh my God, like it's going to be okay. But to me, it wasn't going to be okay.
Waking up is hard when you can't walk.
Right. So here's what I learned. I gave Liz the pills and she would bring me my doses in the morning. Mm-hmm. I woke up in the morning when it came time where I could wean myself down. And I woke up in the morning and I had one pill because she couldn't get there before physical therapy. Mm-hmm. And I realized in that moment, I'd start asking myself, Jackie, are you taking this pill because you need it or are you taking it because you don't like the way you feel? Mm-hmm. And I realized in that moment that if I had that bottle of pills, that I would have taken them. because you can't, or addicts, and it's not that you want to, but when that emotion strikes and it causes a perfect storm, if I'd have had them at my fingertips, I would have never be sitting here with 10 years clean today.
I had someone hold mine too. The only time that I had to take medication.
Because we're not superhuman. Because you're in recovery. I listen to people share and they say, oh, I'm not taking that. I don't care what the doctor said. Sometimes I don't like that message. Because
you're sometimes
you're just
being a martyr.
Exactly.
Did your leg just get shattered? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you have a rod in your leg? Like
I had a halo. I had hook. I had screws.
I remember.
Look, I still have this. I had to carry my leg around.
I've had fixators. I understand.
Yeah. So when people give that message, no, I don't believe in this medication, and you don't take medication. You know
You're not a fucking doctor.
You know what? You're making that person that may be sitting in that room that actually has to have it. You don't know their degree of pain. You don't know. That is between them and their sponsor. When you share a message like that, you make them feel less than.
Yeah.
Now, if you think, so here's my message. If you feel like you can make it out of whatever you're in without pain medication, then hands down to you, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But for the person that's listening, or the person that may be going through severe pain, do not listen to that message of recovery where you follow. We're told in here, it's a very contradictory story. Yeah. We're told to follow directions because you're not a doctor and you're not a doctor. You know who I'm listening to? My doctor. I'm not going to my doctor to fix my motorcycle. I was told in recovery that I should follow instructions from the person that had the most experience with it.
Yep.
I'm thinking my doctor had the most experience.
Yep.
And if he told me to do that, and as long as now where recovery kicks in, where you can follow your program, is then you go to the person with experience or the person that's looking out for you to tell you how recovery protocol can get you through this clean. So I don't like the message when people sit up there like there's some superhuman superhero. I didn't have to take pain medication because I'm an addict and I'm Narcotics Anonymous and I'm not going to take this pain. That's some bullshit, man. It's some bullshit. Right? So that's how I got through that clean. I forgot what part 2 was.
Billy. The hard one.
He was one of my first very, very closest friends. Like when you come in here, and I had 2 years and we built a bond. We built a bond because he was not a nice, he was not a nice person.
He was he was old school.
And I'm old school.
He was always nice to me.
I'm old school too. I would come back at him with.
And you guys were always rolling up to Step and Clean on your Harleys.
Yep. And we built this relationship. I remember the first time I called him stupid. It's an endearing term. He did something. I said, "You're stupid." And he looked at me. He says, "I'm not stupid. You're stupid." I said, "Billy, calm down. It'll be like that." So we became people. He was my person. And I have a couple, that was especially in early recovery. And he was sick. He kept coughing. And he was look. So if you know me, I'm laughing at everything. I love to watch people fall. I love to watch people get the shit scared out of them. I'm going to laugh in the grocery store. I'm going to laugh in the community store. I love to laugh, right? And he was more of your Debbie Downer, but we worked. And he was he's had this cough. He had this cough. And he says, I don't want to go to doctors. I want to go to doctors. And finally, he got on my damn nerves. And I said, if you don't go to the doctors, I'm going to come over there and drag you by your neck and you're going to go. So he ended up going to the hospital. So he comes home from the hospital. I went over his house and he says, "It's bad, Jack. I want to die. I got cancer." And I said, "What? Like what?" Because he's always a Debbie Downer. And I said, "What happened?" He's got a couple nodules on his lung. And this was in January. And he said to me, I said, "You know what? Shut up. Stop being stupid. You're not going to die. We're going to go. You're going to get it looked at. I believed, this is..." And that was in January, and he was gone in July. He went, and it was very progressively bad, and he did okay with radiation. And then when the chemo hit, he was gone, and they put him in a nursing home by North Bend. There's a big nursing home up there, and I would go. I didn't want to accept the fact, and his Gene. Remember the older dude with the long ponytail, Grateful Dead dude.
Yep.
I remember when they told me in the hospital, in that room, and his mom was in the room, that it was definite that he would never make it out of there. And I didn't want to accept it. I went out in the hall and I said, "I don't accept this. I just don't." And Jeannie said, "Jackie, it's gotten..." So I would go up there people would go out and visit, and people would go out and visit. I was riding my motorcycle every single night. I would go up and lay in bed with him. I would scoot what was left of him over, and I would lay in bed until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I would go. And then I was at the farm one day. My daughter had a couple horses, and I was taking another friend of mine up there. Horses is good therapy for me, good therapy for everybody, I think. And I was up at the farm, and Steve S. called me, and he said, "Jackie, he's gone." I don't. It was the first, most devastating loss that I have ever felt in my entire life. You know, up until that point.
Yeah.
There's no medication. There's no drinking. There's no nothing. And I was kind of numb. And then I called Herb. I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this meeting tonight. You have to get somebody. You know what? Billy was at Step and Clean with me, but the meeting was at Herb. Was it Rolling in Edmonton? Oh,
it was Edmonton Rolling.
It was at Edmonton and Rolling. And I called Herb and I said, I can't do that meeting tonight. And he said, oh no, absolutely, you are going to do that meeting. And I said, what's wrong with you?
I know, you sadistic prick.
What's wrong with you, Herb? I thought you loved me. I thought that we were friends. Who does this? Who does?
It's the best time to share, probably.
I will tell you what. There was people that rode.
Oh, I had huge.
People that knew, that experienced this loss with me, because I wasn't his only friend, showed up at this meeting. And I got to tell you, it was the most difficult meeting, because every feeling and emotion that I had came out. Every feeling, every emotion. And I still sat there and did the meeting. And I still sat there and was grateful for recovery. Without recovery, I wouldn't have him. Do you know what I mean? And I had support. If you ever want to see the unity of the program come together, people showed up to support and to mourn with me. And there were some poor people there that didn't know Emily. I remember Emily and I remember Maddie. That's where I became friends with him. Like, you got to remember, there's other people in there that have no idea what's going on. And I'm up there sharing. And I don't know how I don't know. Was it a good message?
Absolutely.
It was the most emotional thing that I've ever gotten through.
It's from the heart, probably.
It was any raw emotion that I was ever capable of having came out. And I believe that it was the power of recovery, the power of the people that surrounded me, that I believe that I was supposed to do that meeting that night. I believe that in my heart of hearts, and it was the most treacherous thing that I had to get through. And I still carry Billy with me. I actually still have his ashes. I carry him in my motorcycle bag. You know, I carry him around with me. And since that point, I lost Liz.
We'll call him the Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
So you lost your person.
I lost my person. I lost another person.
Liz was your person.
This was my. She helped me get through that. So I lost her to cancer. I've lost a lot of people in here. I lost my brother. I lost my mother. I've lost people that had part of my soul and part of my, and I can honestly tell you that at no point in any of those losses did I ever want to use. I gravitated towards what I knew I did not want to use. Now, a breakup, I wanted to use. Isn't that crazy? I've lost people forever and ever and ever. And a breakup, I wanted to use over. The pain of that.
There's pain and breakup.
Yeah.
It's what I think I would have liked. So, all right, so don't judge me. If you do, you do. But I wish that he was dead, because I didn't want anything bad or him to die a bad death.
Yeah.
But if he was dead,
it's easier to
take
it off.
It's a different mental thing, because this person's still out there. They're choosing not to be.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like, whoa.
That was very devastating. Well, I actually left, but it was still very. I had to.
You know, that's the funny thing. Is even if you're the one who breaks up, sometimes you're the person who's devastated by it. Because that happened to me. I broke up with somebody, and I was like, but I was the one who was sad.
Oh my God.
And I was like, why am I sad?
Right.
Yeah. I was the one who was like,
because your illusion of who you wanted that person to be wasn't my illusion of who I wanted this person to be. It was never his fault. He was always who he was.
Yeah.
But in my illusion, things are going to get different. Things are going to do this. Things are going to do this. I was choosing to change. So I think I mourned the illusion of what I wanted that relationship to be.
Ooh.
That took a lot of recovery.
Ooh.
I mourned it, and
That's a sentence.
I stayed for a longer period of time.
Mourned the illusion of what I wanted that person
Absolutely.
to be. Wow.
I mourned it. And
I got some shit to think about.
it was easier if I could blame him.
Yeah.
And I did. I'd call my sponsor,
thing?
Billy, this, and that. And she said, Jackie, that's how he is. You know, like, well, he did this because it's not your way doesn't mean it's not his way.
Yeah.
And what I realized that I was with a person that he's nothing against him. He's not a good communicator. We weren't on the same place. We weren't on the same page. And the man walked in like that. He had a good sense of humor, right? And I loved that. And I loved that there were certain things. I wanted to mold him to what I believed that he should be for me, right? And the minute that I started realizing that there was something that I needed to work on, why did I feel the need? And I went through a lot of hurtful things. Why did I feel the need that this was okay for me to be hurt? Why was I accepting something that I knew wasn't meant to be for me? There was a lot of soul searching. And I'm going to say that breakup was the most growth. It's really taught me to dig. It's been 5 years. I had to move out of a 3-bedroom home with a pool because I had enough recovery to know that I was not living the way that my in God's will. I was living in my will, and I was causing my own pain.
Misery. Yeah.
If he would just do this, it's like the kid that I had. If she would have just fixed my life, it's something else that I'm working on in recovery. It wasn't as drastic as having a baby and the drugs not fixing me and this and that. I had to actually look at myself, and that's a hard thing to do.
Fuck yeah.
And in the last 5 years of my recovery have been, I'm an independent person. I live on my own. Part of it was financial fear. We were like that. You know what I mean? You come from homeless. You don't want to lose things. I moved into the smallest room of a woman's house like I run now. And it was the greatest thing. And I cried my first night. And I went through pain. I didn't alter my course. And I kept working on myself. And I stopped looking at that point in time for other things to fix me. That was the first. It took me 5 years to do that. It wasn't just the Reeboks. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It wasn't call back to the Reeboks.
It wasn't just the Reeboks. So it brought me such peace within my own soul that I don't look for other things to fix me any longer. Don't saying that I don't like to buy a Ron John shirt and I want to go and I have a problem with Somerset Jewelers up there, but I don't extend myself. Those are gifts that I give to myself because I worked on myself. You know what I mean? I'm okay with me. I can be by myself. Yeah. I'm not lonely. I'm never alone. Yeah. I'm never alone. Now, I don't want to share my remote control with somebody. Now, when I'm dating, I'm watching what I want on Netflix. No, it's time for you to go home. Yeah. I don't want you. Yeah. You know what I mean? That one guy says, I think I'll just stay here. I said, no, you won't.
No, fuck you will.
No. Now I've become so accustomed that you'd have to pretty much set my world on fire. And I know, but what I'm looking, or what I would be willing, I don't see things that I want to see any longer. I see things for what they are. And then you have to look at that self. Do I love this person enough to accept who they are without loving them, saying, well, this will change? You cannot put expectations. You can grow as a couple. You can talk and you can work things out. But that's got to be a right combination to do that. Yeah. I no longer I knew that if he would just not be an idiot anymore, my life would be okay. It was not my fault. Again. No. So... It's death, breakups,
legs.
Oh my God, legs! I have a leg. I used to say, I have a leg.
Oh, I remember. When you finally showed up without the boot, without the crutches.
Oh my God, yeah. That was and then one day, I woke up. He weaned me off. He gave me some other pill because I was going through physical therapy. I think that was in December, and like a week later,
Tramadol.
It might have been. Yeah, and then I didn't take anything anymore. And listen. This is how just living one day at a time and living in your moment. I didn't count down anything. I woke up and said, oh my God, I haven't had anything in 2 weeks and I'm not even ill. I didn't look for the illness. Sometimes we look for. Do you ever notice that prior to becoming an opiate addict, you weren't a pussy, and then when you become an opiate addict, you become one.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, like before I became an opiate addict, I had the flu. I had teeth pulled without Percocets. I went through broken bones, broken this. But let me become an opiate.
It becomes an excuse, right?
Like,
that's really
my
what
nose
it
is running. I have to go get something for it. We become soft and like dependent.
It becomes an excuse.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know, that's the reason for going to get whatever.
So make no mistake about it. If I go through something, whether it be arthritis, whether it be slip disc, whether it be a back, make no mistake about it that regardless of what anyone else in the recovery world says, I will not live my life in pain.
But you've experienced it.
Right? I will follow protocol so that this doesn't become my life.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
I understand completely.
What you got, Eric? You got one more?
I have one more. I want to touch on the disease versus illness, like sort of, because you did mention the disease model earlier, and like I kind of always am like, ugh, disease.
I know.
Because it's like, and I think a good way of looking at it is instead of looking at it as a disease, I try to look at it as an illness, because illnesses can kind of be remedied where.
It's a mental illness.
It is a mental illness.
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
it is, but like sometimes people have a hard time distinguishing between an illness and a disease.
Yes,
because like disease, people are like, you don't have cancer, you don't have like something like, but it's like
it's
no,
not diabetes.
It's like I have an illness, so like I have, let's say, it's my addiction is like my cold. It's like a cold. Like sometimes it can come around and like it's gonna be bad, but I can arrest it with like, I don't know, some Tylenol and like Benadryl and like a few things,
some chicken soup and some good rest.
You know, sometimes it lays dormant.
Yeah, sometimes.
And sometimes,
yeah. Like, do you think that would help people like thinking of it from like an illness perspective and mental illness? It is a mental illness, but like rather than being like the disease of addiction, because I feel like there's a negative connotation that comes with that. You know,
I believe what you just said about illness, and I also have not an issue with the disease. I believe that based on who you're speaking with, if it helps them to call it an illness or to think of it in those terms, right? I came in with disease.
Yes.
But we do have it. It is an illness. It's something that it's an illness that'll never go away. But it can be.
But you have pain now, right? Like that, like you might have chronic pain coming like from your leg.
I do. When it's raining, them old people were
when it starts to get cold, right? Like
absolutely.
you start to feel the joints tighten. And
I just found out at the age of 57 I got arthritis in my back. And I ride a motorcycle, and I'm not ready to surrender to that kind of stuff.
You have to get a trike. Right?
I'm going. Oh my god! I don't know if I can do that. I don't know.
Isn't that what you do, though?
You just blasphemed in front of her.
But isn't that what bikers do when they get there? They get to that point?
Some of them do that. Some of them do that. I'm not, that is like, I'm going to have to cross that bridge when I get there. I'm going to have to, I might go buy a horse. I don't know, because I love horses too. And I like being out on a boat. It's the whole thing for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like to be free.
The boats can be fun. I like boats.
When I'm out on that boat, it's like being on my motorcycle. Whatever is on shore stays on shore. And I'm out.
So it's the same with the motorcycle. Whatever you're passing.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
When I go to Ocean City and I get up and I look at the sunrise, because make no mistake about it, that's why I'm there. The sunrise, sunset, the moon, and the ocean. I have a wave. I float. I just go out and I become one with the ocean. And I love the ocean. I love our ocean. I realize.
What part of Ocean City do you live in?
I was on a 123rd. I'm in Selbyville now. I'm right up by Harpoon Hannah's.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's in a development and right outside of our back door is a canal with the boat on it. And then right on the other side is the ocean. And I ride around with a beach bag and a chair. So when I'm done working in the morning, I can go sit and get that. The other night I'm working. I'm an Uber driver, right? And I looked over, and that moon looked good.
You must be the best fucking Uber driver.
I love being an Uber driver.
I bet. Oh my God, I bet you love right now too. My God, it must be so weird. Isn't it Senior Week soon?
Yeah, Senior Week's coming up.
Well, that's why. Come July, that's why I'm not the seniors. Listen, I've got a good record, and nobody's thrown up in my car yet.
Oh,
I do have barf
you
bags.
just jinx yourself.
Look,
you're fucked
I know.
now.
I've said it. Listen, I'll turn around and look at them young kids and say, "You going to throw up? You going to throw up in my car?" Because there's one boy. I said, "Let me tell you something. It was a crowd of them in the car. I said,
throw up,
if you throw up in my car, none of you are going home. We're going right to the car wash, and you're going to clean this up. I don't care about a fee. You're cleaning this shit up.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I will stop when I see the moon at certain stages and go to the beach.
Oh, cool.
And I will look at it, and I will sit there and look at it, the reflection off the water. I will look at that sunset on the other side. Those are the greatest things, and things I love the mountains. Those are the things that bring me a lot of joy. It's I don't know what this need inside of me is, that I love that, and it makes me okay. It centers me, it grounds me. My 10th step, my sponsor asked me to try, I don't know, Buddhism, whatever, wherever you know. And the answer was always with me. I'm the closest to the God of my understanding when I'm alone on my motorcycle, because I'm somewhere else.
Well,
or I'm at the beach.
This blew my mind a few months ago. I didn't realize. So God, the great outdoors.
Oh yeah. Shut up. We need to get a shirt made.
Yeah, what the fuck? I had never thought, because we always heard like good orderly direction.
Yes, and that's stupid. I don't really care about that.
But great outdoors, I was like, what?
That's our God.
Yeah, what the fuck? I never thought of it.
I just didn't think I could get any better than I am right now, and I just did.
There you go.
God.
Great outdoors.
Oh my God. And that was a John Candy movie that I loved, too.
It's a fucking great movie. Hell yeah. Him and
that is me, though.
Dan Aykroyd.
That's where. Yeah. So here's what the thing is: when you're here and you choose this new way of life, the possibilities are endless to find out what it is that really makes you happy. And along the way, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. Here's what you can't do: you can't use. You can't use. You can act out. You can cuss. You can scream. You can make a fool of yourself, because that can be easily corrected. Once I started using it, would be over for me. But I needed that bad relationship.
Yeah.
I you know what I mean? In order to grow to where I'm at now, because it taught me a lot about myself. It wasn't that poor guy. You know what I mean? It was his fault for, just like it was Ocean City's, California's, Pennsylvania's, the kids, my husband. You see where the pattern is? Even in 5 years of recovery, I still was looking to not accept responsibility for the way for me. It's all about this is what I do today. Accountability, I'm huge on it. I'm huge on that. I accept accountability for what I do. I accept responsibility. And even when my sponsees come to me about a situation, what is your part in it? I do not care about anyone else's part. I want to know what your part is, because believe me, you have a part in it. And your part may be just that you put yourself where you weren't supposed to be. That's your part. So if so with all of those things is, I love this. I have to stay grateful for it and not wish I could have got it earlier.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. My last question. The benefits of the amends process with your kids. And where you're at today.
The benefits of the amends process. The relationships that we have today. By the time I hit, this is recovery, and this is real. The steps were about me, all about me, and this is how I know this. By the time I hit the 9th step, when I asked and I went to my brothers and my sisters, it was about me, because every one of them said, "You can do this," because it was an act that I had to follow through with. Yeah. Right. And I said, "I absolutely will listen to you." But my sister, my brother, my other sister, we've already forgiven you. You are not that person anymore. But if this is what you need. And my girls were like, well, they don't even understand why. My son was more open to it. That my girls were like, what do you mean you have to do? They don't, the benefits are this. I have accepted all behavior, all priors. I have changed who I am. They don't look at me and they're not afraid. They're not afraid of me any longer. So it was a thing. Remember I told you I was up, I was down, and I said to my oldest daughter one time, it wasn't all bad. Like I went to Disney World, took her to Vegas. We did hiking mountains, this. I said, gosh, Jessica, it wasn't all bad, was it? And she looked at me, she said, no, Mom, it wasn't all bad. This is me early recovery, still not looking at what they went through. She said, we just didn't know when the monster would show up on any given minute. So would I rob them?
That's a
of
good title.
That's a good one.
Even
too, yeah.
even the benefits. Even remember I was sitting here and telling you about all the good moments that we had. They already knew in the back of their minds that they weren't going to last. I robbed them of any type of consistency, security.
Oof.
So they're always thinking like,
the other shoe's gonna drop.
They're just like, when's the other mom gonna show
the
up?
benefits of the amends process.
The momster.
They no longer look for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
They don't. They believe that the monster has been slayed because I don't show the monster. That's the most important thing. Is I have to look at it. I stop. That pause button is so extremely important with 10, 15, because we handle things, we perceive them in a certain way. And then when you have time, because when you do it, it could be this way, it could be that way, it could be this. I have to be very careful because this peace-loving person that's sitting in front of you can get damn right medieval in the wrong moment. And just my using was medieval times is what I call it.
Medieval times.
I've thought about it. Like, would it be fun to like use with Jackie? I'm like, for a little while.
It wasn't until
it wasn't.
Listen, if you didn't interfere with what was going on, we were good. Look, I was like this. I would laugh, carry on, is this. But the other side is a blackout. I don't have no control.
Nope.
Do not fool with this path that I'm on. And my reactions were catastrophic. It was just, and even in like I had to curve
just
that.
Hurricane Jackie.
Oh yeah. Come on, let's go, because we're going to the end.
Yep.
But that they don't. The amends process for me is helping with me forgiveness. The actual amends that I'm living has taken the monster out from underneath their beds, even at the age that they are. They no longer look for the monster to appear because I haven't reacted that way, and they come to me. My sisters and brothers, because of this program and how this should be spread worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have problems that they don't even know about. And I feel sorry for the regular people because they don't have the benefit of this.
Yeah.
To look at spiritual patience, tolerance, understanding, forgiveness, stopping and to think about this, looking at it from that way. There's an alternative route to handle anything. There's,
You're
it's
starting
just
to see it a little more with like the mental health awareness, I think.
Yeah.
Like at least like in the corporate like side of, I don't know as much as in like other work industries, but I know with like, they are starting to be like more aware of your mental health. Like start thinking about mindfulness, start doing yoga,
Absolutely. There's things that the good endorphins, like look at for things to get, exercises to get. My friend has a daughter that has an issue, and we're talking, when you said mental health, we need a lot of work in that area. We need a lot of work in that area. There's no understanding. There's a lot of things that are coming out of a book in college that's not helping this kid that's sitting right here.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So, for me, like I said to her, this kid's got some serious issues, but she is the most creative person. For me, let's find that area that is their safe place, and it's a creativity, and let's see if we can incorporate this into their life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
There's like ways you can also incorporate recovery into that too, like make like the creativity part of the recovery process.
Absolutely. Because now there's art meetings popping up, which have started here in West Side, which is so cool.
I could see like a painting meeting being very
Dude,
common.
that's what it is. On Wednesday nights we have an art meeting, and Kira actually took it down to Laurel, so now there's an art meeting in Laurel. We're doing a yoga thing in July.
That's
here on the West Side.
Incorporating into your life the most positive aspects and marrying them together.
Because those are spiritual things that we do.
Yeah.
Like, so let's
I'm in a meditation meeting, and it's fantastic.
It is. It's so much. It doesn't have to be so narrow.
You should come check it out this Thursday. You
gotta
remember
be rigid,
Nathan
like
C?
I do.
Yeah, he's celebrating 11 on Thursday.
No way.
At a meditation meeting right up in Dickeyville.
Wow.
I'll be in Ocean
City.
Yeah, I'll be at Bethany.
I know. You will be close to one another.
Sorry, I'll be in Bethany.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're about out of time, but we'd like to thank you for joining us today.
Woo! Yay!
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So much
I feel like I've got this experience, like, because I'm like this. I look at that. I feel like I'm a part of something here.
Oh, that's cool. Well,
thank you for having me.
People are going to listen to this everywhere. Like
Yeah.
we have listeners in
way.
Australia and Europe, Canada.
If anybody in
England.
Australia that wants me to invite me out there, I like to watch waves.
Hell
That's
yeah.
my new thing. I'm going to be a wave watcher. I
fucking
learned
love
I don't
the
like
waves.
the Caribbean because it's boring.
Oh.
Oh yeah, the little teeny waves.
What is that? There's not even a wave.
No.
I don't even understand that. I learned that by taking a cruise and going to Mexico this year because it's beautiful and the sands are beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? That shit's boring to me. I need a wave.
Yep.
It's who wants to. I want to hear that roar, that ocean, and so
Well,
yeah.
there's actually-
that's my new bucket list. I want to go to I want to go to Portugal,
Yeah.
to Nazarene to
nice.
see.
Waves.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Largest. That's my new bucket list.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll give you one quick minute. Talk to anybody out there who's struggling, needs to hear a quick message of hope. What do you have to say directly to them?
If you're struggling out there and you don't believe it's possible, you absolutely have nothing whatsoever to lose by reaching out to somebody that has recovery. If it doesn't work for you, it didn't, but it may. It may work. And it's my experience in here as somebody that was a loner and floated here and there and there. This can't be done alone. If you just give it a chance, you'll find your people, you'll find what you're looking for in here. And which brings it to within yourself.
Yep.
You know, if you're struggling, you don't have to.
Yep.
But you have to, you know, like just make.
And you're
that
not alone.
You're not alone. Make that first step. There's nobody that I would not help. If you reach out to me, whether I'm the one that can actually help you with what you need, I will be the bridge to get to that person. I will be a bridge. Sometimes that's what we are in here is bridges. I'm not that. I'm not the end all.
Thought of it like that.
I'm not
That
the
is
end all
so
be all.
beautiful.
But let me tell you, I've been a bridge. That you reach me. If you can reach me, I'll bridge you to right where you need to be. I'll get you to the other side.
God, that's amazing. I love that. All right. Thank you once again. And everybody, thank you for joining us here at Podcast Recovery. We're aiming to expand the scope of support for recovering addicts. I can't even remember the whole spiel. I'm not even going to go into
So, come and, join our...
Yeah, come and join our Patreon.
Stuff.
Go to all our social media outlets, like, share, subscribe, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit. We're about to
YouTube.
have an app. YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel. This will be up. It's cool. And yeah, join our Patreon. Help us, keep these
the mics
mics
on.
on because we are self-supporting. But most importantly, everybody out there,
Stay safe and stay clean.